Hello, everyone. Today's focus is on a foundational yet sometimes overlooked element in evaluating research quality: ethics, especially in applied linguistics and the social sciences, where we work with human participants, students, teachers, migrants, and test takers. Ethical considerations are not a side concern, they are central. We'll explore how to assess whether human participants were treated ethically, whether the research was transparent and unbiased, whether there were conflicts of interest, and more controversially, how access to data is managed in high stakes research environments, such as those funded by IELTS partners, British Council, IDP, or Cambridge Assessment. We'll ground our analysis in real examples and give you a toolkit for asking the right critical questions. Let's begin with the question: was the research conducted ethically? Any study involving people must follow ethical protocols. Ethical clearance from a recognized institutional board isn't optional, it is required. Ask yourself, did the researchers obtain informed consent? Were participants told they could withdraw at any time? Was participation truly voluntary, or might there have been pressure, especially in institutional settings? For example, one well documented study on IELTS writing performance clearly outlined its ethics procedure: signed consent forms, approval from a university ethics committee, and pseudonymized data. That's the gold standard. In contrast, if a study says permission was assumed or doesn't mention ethics at all, that's a red flag. Participants deserve full autonomy over their involvement. Ethical research also means anticipating and minimizing harm, whether physical, emotional, or reputational. In applied linguistics, emotional harm can arise easily. For example, a study might explore experiences of discrimination based on accent or language background. Asking participants to relive painful moments can cause emotional distress. Imagine a study asking international students about experiences of racism during oral exams. Unless the researcher offers counseling referrals or at least a debriefing, this raises ethical concerns. Ethics isn't just about avoiding lawsuits, it's about human dignity and care. Researcher bias and reflexivity is another topic. Let's talk about bias. Every researcher has a point of view, but not every researcher acknowledges it. We call this positionality, an awareness of how your background, beliefs, affiliations shape your approach to research. For example, the study sponsored by IDP concludes that the IELTS speaking test is universally fair, but if the researcher works for IDP or the British Council, can they really be neutral? Did they consider dissenting voices? Did they seek feedback from test takers who scored poorly? Reflexive researchers declare their standpoints and actively seek to counterbalance it. That's ethical scholarship. The next topic is transparency and data access. Transparency is another critical ethical marker. This includes full disclosure of how the data was collected and analyzed, open access to instruments like interview guides, a clear trail from raw data to conclusion. Yet, in many studies, especially in high stakes testing, data is locked away. A common phrase is data available on request, but in practice, such requests are often denied. There is a red flag. If the study excludes failing test takers or any includes top secrets without explanation, that's selective sampling. It's not just bad practice, it's unethical. Let's zoom in on research funded by British Council, IDP, or Cambridge Assessment. These entities fund research and provide grants, but they heavily restrict access to the raw data. Only pre approved researchers, often with ties to the organization, are granted access. They cite test security or proprietary concerns to deny data access. Ask yourself, can research be truly independent if the test owner controls the data? If the test disadvantages certain groups, can that be exposed? Such control may lead to the systemic filtering of negative findings, resulting in only promotional research reaching the public. Examples of conflict and control is the next topic to discuss. Let's look at two specific examples. A Cambridge funded paper reports the strongest strategy used among IELTS test takers, but omits those who failed. This exclusion is not acknowledged. A researcher requests low band IELTS speaking recordings to study accent bias, but is denied due to test security. That refusal makes it impossible to conduct a balanced critical study. This isn't just about methodology, it's about power. Conflict of interest arises when research conclusions benefit the funder. Ethical publishing requires that all such ties are disclosed. Next, the key questions for ethical reviewers. When reviewing a research article, use this checklist. Was ethical approval obtained and reported? Were participants informed and treated with respect? Was the researcher reflexive about their role? Was data access fair and transparent? Were limitations and conflicts of interest declared? If the answer to any of these is no, the study's integrity is in question, even if the results seem impressive. Ethics is the foundation of credibility. Let me leave you with this. Access to data is access to truth. If we want applied linguistics and social sciences to be respected, we must hold ourselves and others to ethical standards. Ethics is not an appendix to research, it is the spine. It determines whether we are contributing to knowledge or merely reinforcing power structures. Next time, we will explore sociocultural and political context in research articles. We'll look at how research is embedded in broader power systems, cultural, national, institutional, and how that affects both design and interpretation. Thank you for your attention. Until then, read ethically and critically. See you next time.